Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to F1 Manager, episode 71. We continue on with our season, heading into our third race. I wanted to update you all on where we're at with our driver lineup, because we can now that we have three young drivers, we can get that direct head-to-head. First off, Pourchaire and Doohan are both 79 overall, with Doohan slightly ahead of Pourchaire in terms of quality. I mean, if we were to add tenths of a point to that overall, Doohan should hit 80 before Pourchaire will. Meanwhile, Logan Sargent's at a 76, so he is a few points worse off than either of them. And then also, the other key comparison is not the race by race, which this is for the Saudi Arabian race that had just finished last episode. The race itself, Pourchaire was better than Doohan. He finished ahead of him. But more importantly is the growth potential of the drivers. Albon a year ago had dropped below 1.0. This gets lower the closer you actually get to your potential year by year. Logan Sargent, for example, his growth potential is just a 1.47. It's average. Already just average. So it's not great. It's really not great. It's not bad. 1.47 is certainly not bad, but it's not great. Doohan not only has a better potential, but is already better overall as well. So with a 1.6, it's still on the high side of it, and it's a multiplier. So it takes his race total, practice, qualifying, you got 160 points there, and then the race itself with, 10, or let's see, what is that? 11 successful overtakes, 13 successful defenses, 15 failed overtakes, and 5 failed defenses. All right, that combination adds up to 793 points. Then add in that practice and qualifying total, and you take that grand total of 953 and multiply it by that 1.6. So 1.6 is pretty good. I think the game's maximum is 2.0, at least so far from what I've seen, what I've experienced with drivers. It seems like it's about a 2.0. So Pourchaire is and has been one of the highest potential drivers out there, and he's been with us for 2.5 now, entering a third season with us, and he still has a 1.75 growth potential. He started out as, like a 72 overall. He's up to a 79 already. He's gained 7 points already. He still has a 1.75 potential, meaning he is somebody who looks like he should top 90 or better by the end of things. So even though he is behind Doohan right now by half a point or 0.4 of a point, something like that, in terms of the overall, he'll surpass him at some point. But with good growth potential for both, we should see them this season getting into the 80s, both of them, low 80s, and not be that far off from where Albon was at the end of last year. And meanwhile, Albon was already down to 0.9 something last year. He picked up a point or two last year, so you would figure he'd be down to about 0.8 now, and he's 83. It's not bad. He's got some potential. He looks like he could top out at maybe an 86. I would think Doohan should be topping out at about a 88 to 89, maybe 90, where Pourchaire should definitely be a bit better than that. With 4 projects at a time, we're going to start rolling through a lot more of them, and on those 3 weaker parts without committing time to them, and just kind of keep them going one project after another. Means we are going to be spending some more money, but there's a chassis upgrade done. Next design, going back to the underfloor, trying to get into design number 3 of the year. It's going to take a while. The underfloor is a really lengthy project that takes time to figure out, and we've already got a good underfloor. I mean, it's basically the best on the grid. It's certainly going to be that if it wasn't already, but gains at this point are very marginal and expensive and time consuming. I've got it set to rushed, so we're spending an extra over $500,000 to make it happen. Still can't commit everywhere, otherwise the project takes absurdly long. We've got it to just under 50 days at this point, but car performance wise, I mean, you could see where we're at and the kind of gains that we see with that, and we've already just about fixed the cornering issue that we had. just with this underfloor and the couple other grades that have been. I don't have a ton of extra money to throw around, but we've got 23 million right now, and it's 12 million for an upgrade to the car part test center, which is just about to downgrade condition wise anyway, so we're catching it just beforehand. But let's go ahead and get that upgrade on the way. It's gonna probably drop a level before we hit that point. Albert Park has provided some of our craziest races with heavy rain, mixed conditions, opportunities for us to go forward. Lots of crashes as well. Last year, though, 12th and 14th. We weren't even in the points, which is something I think we only did maybe twice all year. And of course, getting the points this year is harder than last year, with cutoff now 8th instead of 10th. Can we get into the points this time around? I think we should be able to, especially with the new underfloor. The car has pushed itself to...
Welcome to Melbourne for a weekend of fierce competition. We're a stone's throw from the beach here at the Albert Park circuit. It might be party mood in the grandstands, but in the paddock, expectations and tensions are high. The Albert Park circuit is bursting with rapid corners and a long straight where drivers can push their speed to the limits. Good attention to medium speed downforce will likely make beating this beast of a track just a little bit easier. At this early stage in the season, there are still plenty of opportunities for things to change. In this sport, there simply are no guarantees.
And now for the banker lap. Ocon is the only one getting in front of us, and he very much got in the way of Porsche and maybe doing as well. Their times are almost identical, so hopefully not. At least compared to Ocon, we're 7/10 ahead of him, but we're behind Magnussen. We're only 3/10 down on Leclerc. I'd say probably it's a good time. Probably. But we'll see. Is the Alfa Romeo that quick? Looks like maybe it is. Albon is just behind us. Now, as we're running through this Q1 session, little update. I'm doing one thing differently this season than last season's, and it's saving me roughly 10 to 15 minutes per recording, and that is I am finally utilizing the AI just a little bit, as we are 5th and 6th with 15 cars having completed their lap, and very much, top end of the time charts, though Verstappen hasn't gone. The one thing that I'm doing differently that's saving that 10 to 15 minutes is I am simulating practice, but only one session. So I'm simulating session number 1. So you get some feedback automatically. It narrows that window down a little bit. It's hurting slightly, but only slight. Oh, pause. I was trying to decide which setup to go for, and I think at 8th and 9th, with over half a second, we're gonna try, hopefully, to get through this by reusing the same set of tires. Doing last one, but he's in plenty of time. Porsche, a little bit up the road. Hopefully we don't see half a second worth of improvement. I would expect there to be a couple tenths worth. But anyway, setup wise, I feel it. I'm noticing it here now into the third race of the year. At this point, I've noticed that instead of averaging 96 to 97% setup per race, right now I'm averaging about 93-94% setup. So I am losing a couple percentage points. It's very marginal, and to save 15 minutes, it's well worth it. 12th and 13th, by the way, in Q1. Going out a little bit later this time than what I normally do for a session. Norris is out there ahead of us on a flying lap, but I hope that he's going to pull far enough away that by the time we circle back around the other way, he'll be out of the way. Otherwise, for now, it's looking like we are facing clear traffic. As long as nobody pulls out now like Perez. Sainz, even Sainz is going to be in the way. Damn it. Sainz we get past at a clean spot with Porsche. We get Perez at a clean spot. Do it? I don't know if he got affected by that one or not. Definitely not the second. So he got past one guy cleanly, but maybe not the second. We'll see. So far, just about to the top of the time charts. Not bad. Ahead of Leclerc, even, by more than 3/10. Sainz 6 tenths down. Not a good lap for him. Ferrari's back into the grid so far. We're ahead of Verstappen. Porsche. It's Q2. It's not Q3, but provisional pole. At least top of the time charts for Q2 anyway. And just 2 cars left. It looks like Porsche may finish right there. Great first run. Good enough so that... gosh, that's only 3/10 of a second though from first to 11th. Not even 3/10. You have to put on the fresh set just to be sure, right? If it was half a second, you'd sit back. Sainz was the only one who was slow. Got enough clean air for both. Porsche, middle of the pack, doing last one out there. He's got the best advantage. That could and should help him improve his time. We are very much not at the top anymore. Porsche improves, but not by a lot. And yeah, this field is so tight. So tight. Do it. About to reach the line. He has to improve and does just enough, just ahead of Porsche. Albon is already done. Albon is already done. He was the first one out there. So we get both cars into Q3 and barely. And the Ferraris that were so slow in their first run, first and third in this run. One thing I hadn't picked up on, Verstappen, just 13th, and a penalty. Q3, we're going for that banker lap. Bottas, the only one in the way. Porsche gets through clean, and I think Doohan does as well. We've got the used set. Everybody else is going to have the fresh set. It's going to be rough because this is a race where we're not going to come in with any fresh soft compound. So I'm kind of tempted to sacrifice, but it's so close. I mean, top to bottom, this field is so close. And I think with a bunch of guys, we've got a better chance of starting front row. Or we have a chance to start front row. And we do this and go out on another used set, we're guaranteed. But by doing this, we have no tires for the no fresh tires for the race, which means we're definitely going to have to go medium hard. And even then, it might be something like a medium hard medium. I don't know. And not even 2 tenths separating the top 7. They've all already used their fresh set. Last 2 cars on track. We've got the fresh set. Let's see what kind of time we can put in here. It's going to need to be a good one. Let's go ahead and check in on those sector times. You can see everybody else is using the used compounds. So far, Gasly, the only one improving, and he was the only one who was not within 2 tenths of a second of each other. So Porsche and Doohan both going faster so far, but not purple. That is key. We are green and green in each sector. Gasly was slower in sector 2. Leclerc was a little bit quicker. He's got a great chance of starting on pole here. And you see none of these guys are improving their time. None of them, including Gasly. We've got a great chance to go forward, but what kind of time can we put in without any purple sectors? I'm not sure. With only 2 tenths separating, without any purple sectors, I don't know. Are we still going to be 7th or 8th? Are we still going to be 9th and 10th? Do it. Up to 8th, Porsche. Up to 9th. One spot. One spot was all. 2 3/10 down. Not good enough. But the kind of time that means in the race we could potentially do rather well. I mean, it's very, very close pace-wise, and a little bit of quality strategy can get you a long way in this game. But we won't have any soft compounds for the race, unfortunately.
Welcome to race day. And before we get down to it, last-minute checks are being made.
Qualifying went well for Williams, as attested by their strong position on the grid. Now it's all about finding that edge for the race itself.
I'm going to go ahead and split strategy with our 2 drivers today to aim for a chance at, getting a podium or better potentially in this one, because I think we are close. We are so close. So with Porsche, we're going to go light. In fact, you know what? I'm going to go even more conservative with his. We're going to flip and we're going to go the hard medium route. You can see though that, that's really stretching it. So we're going to go light by 1 lap worth of fuel. So to help him with a little additional pace. Hope that he can just sit in the train and, sit around ninth place. And then, like last race, if we get lucky, there's a safety car at the right time, he can absolutely, get bunched back up, or at the very least be quick on the mediums towards the end of the race. But you can see how they do fall off. So pace is going to be bad towards the end of those two stints, but it's a one-stopper. Jack Doohan, we're going to see what he's got today. He's got the same pace that Pourchaire has. One thing he does have, though, is he is better at overtaking than Pourchaire is. So that's why I'm picking him for this strategy. We're going to take the two-stopper, medium, hard, medium. And, you can see tire wear-wise, you don't have to worry about the drop-off anywhere near as much. They're going to maintain a bit more pace. He's going to pit a bit earlier on. And that means I'm not going light on fuel. We're going to want to push the engine from time to time. We are aiming to make overtakes with Jack Doohan. We are aiming to move our way through the grid a little bit in that first stint. And then once we have those fresh hards on, we definitely want to gain some pace over those guys that are staying out there, even on the medium to hard. They're going to be pitting later. So pitting that earlier, we want to get that track position, finish getting to the front, and then be at the front when we do eventually make that last stop. How much ground can we make up? How much farther ahead can we be than those guys? Well, that's the tricky part. But that's also why we are giving ourselves the opportunity to be able to push and keep after it down the stretch. So split strategy. Haven't done this in a while.
The drivers have now taken position on the grid, and it's looking like a cloudy day. Looking now at the Williams. They might not be in the top 3 spots, but things could change fast once the race gets underway. And looking at the second Williams car. They're in the front half of the pack, so there's plenty of potential for them. Will their hard work pay off today? Get ready for the Australian Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
We're racing down in Australia. Now, Pourchaire is the one I want to settle in quickly, because we really need to stretch those tires. So he's already in a position where I think I don't want him ahead of his teammate.
We want to leave please.
He shouldn't have had that advantage over Doohan, but he's had it. And now he's actually up beside Sainz. So if you can get ahead of Sainz, that's huge, because getting ahead of him, and ultimately down the stretch of the season, we hope that that's who we are really racing head-to-head with. So that's up to P7 for Pourchaire. So that's a fantastic start for him. What can Doohan do? Let's go ahead and ride with him for a while yet, and we're going to go times 2 and see if he can't get ahead. Now, already, fuel is better. Now, that was the thing. Pourchaire, he was light. So even though he's on the hard compound, he got a good getaway, and Doohan gets up the inside of Sainz, and has not finished the job yet. But we'll have the inside for turn 1 and should finish the job and do finally get ahead. So that's P8 now. For now, let's go ahead and save the car as well. I think I'd like to go ahead and refill the battery. At some point we will have Pourchaire.
Hey, firm on DRS.
Okay, we'll speed things up for battle lap here. Battery's already partially recovered. And Pourchaire's already slipping to about a second back. He does get DRS, but just barely keep it up with Russell's pace. Let's see if anybody else has opted for... No one else near the front. Ricardo, Ocon, Latifi, the only ones going with the Pourchaire strategy. And he's clearly a little bit off the pace. Now, plenty are on the mediums, but who's going medium hard and who's going medium hard medium with the two-stopper? I don't know. But there's the battery fully charged. We want to go ahead and utilize it on this next probably DRS zone to try to overtake our teammate. Standard.
Do lift and coasting.
Back to neutral.
Copy.
Wait until we kind of close up on Russell. But again, with Doohan, our idea, concept here is we do want to go forward. But everybody else ahead of us are all on mediums. Right? All of them? Yes. Yeah, Pourchaire's the only one in the top 12 on hards. Fantastic start for Pourchaire, though. I mean, could be happier with what he's done and doing. got around him easily enough. First car out of train, out of DRS range is Ricardo. So the top 11 are starting to pull away, and that's that next guy in the hard compound range, right? Struggling to keep up. Alright, we are about to head into kind of a big double straight area. Let's go aggressive.
Okay, reduce lift and coast.
We're not going to use the overtake just yet, though. First, I want to close up on him, then use the overtake. Hopefully, driving aggressively can get us a bit closer. Time it for the front straight. Use this half of the lap to get tight. Don't like your line there, though. You're nowhere near your mini car lengths behind. You shouldn't be looking at trying to come out from tucking in. There we go. Now we're closing up when we need to. Now we use the overtake. Alright, let's go. Oh, not a great line there. And already you're pulling out when you should be using the slipstream through here.
Use the overtake.
Not a good decision. In fact, look, we're slower. We were slower than what we could or should have been through there. Fuel recovery not looking good for Porsche, even on the hard compound. Isn't going anywhere, which means turning the engine up is probably a recipe for we're going to have to lift and coast later, and not just, can't turn the engine up that often. It seems like, oh, well, we were on harvest. But this whole fuel recovery thing is not looking
And
good
there's
in
an
the early
overtake
days.
from Williams.
It's like fuel might be a bit difficult to manage here. Bad exit there, but we get a good run off of this one. The fastest lap, but what can you do? Battery's low. No. Ooh, can you get him on the exit? Not quite. Battery's almost empty. Well, we might be nice and close up here, and Porsche's group is falling further and further back.
Red Bull gained a place.
We're gonna harvest and turn the battery down. Sector 1, yellow. Not in front of us. We can see everybody in front of us. Okay, window entered. That's why I'm pushing harder here, because, I mean, it's only 60%. Pace shouldn't be that bad. We are pushing harder than others, tire wear wise. Not by a crazy margin. I mean, we're about 10% lower. I think we are done with fuel consumption for a while, and then battery's probably going to have to hold too. We want to just stay in the RS range as best we can for the rest of this stint. We got forward a little bit, but not much. And then Latifi and Ocon are the only ones that are off the pace, so pitting soon is going to put us well behind, but it's going to get us in some clean air. And I figure there's going to be at least a couple cars using this two-stop strategy. It's too late to change our mind. I mean, Doohan's already down to 50% and go standard for a little bit, see how well we can keep up. Can we prolong this? Is anybody else going to pit roughly when we pit? If they do, then I'm more inclined to do so. If everybody's going for the lengthy one-stop, well, we've already seen kind of a flip in how things are looking. I don't think a two-stopper is going to work today. Oh, wow. Okay. Perez and Guan Yu Zhou and Sainz all pitting. It's at a 1.6, so it has technically gotten a little bit better. But
And there's an overtake from Williams.
For sure, we're taking
happy to push
Gasly.
hard.
Copy.
3.1 behind. So the hards are starting to kind of come in as the mediums are starting to fall off, it looks like. Even though we're at 45%, I'm guessing others are falling below 60 now. Wow, really the only one heading into the pits. Put us down the order a long ways. And I saw, what, 3, 4, 5 other guys pit last lap? I was like, okay, let's go for it. 0.678. Now I'm nervous
Alpine just advanced.
because we are way down the order. But coming out with these guys, and come on. Get ahead. Get ahead. 3 wide. This position matters. This position matters. Come on. Looks like we're gonna get it.
Okay, that's good.
Fuel down
That's good.
first. That's the complicated one. Neutral.
Increase.
And
Lifting
aggressive.
goes.
Copy.
2 seconds behind Perez. Continue to go aggressive for a little bit. Meanwhile, Pourchaire's up to P6. 3 seconds behind. Gasly is 3 seconds behind. Russell has lost the DRS train. Hopefully without pace, he's going to start to fall off, and that's going to put us finally ahead of Russell. We should have much better pace than him. Perez and Guan Yu Zhou, actually, so we've caught Perez. And here we go. Norris pits. Is this medium to hard? Going the distance? It's Pourchaire up to P4. So like I said, you can see that those guys are really starting to lose pace, and Pourchaire is going faster now. And very few cars are doing his strategy. So realistically, neither car going with the primary strategy. At this point, I think Pourchaire's race is looking better than Doohan's. I think that second stop is going to be costly. He might have been 6-7 seconds ahead, but... And there you go. Here goes this front group all peeling off, and now it's down to Leclerc, Pourchaire. Leclerc's probably going to pit this lap. Meanwhile, Doohan up to P7 after all this, and he locks up right as I was about to turn this down, but he...
Let's
I don't
have a
think it
look.
matters.
Now we
Aggressive
see
or not.
the Williams here.
Doohan with a big mistake in the lockup. That's one area where his attributes are
goodness
lower
nobody
than
else was
Albon
involved.
or Pourchaire,
That was a big crash.
and he has ruined his race. So now it's definitely a Pourchaire race. He's going to have to pit. Yeah, he's got no wing.
There's contact.
And it's an extra, so it's going to turn it into a 3-stop day. And we can't even put on fresh tires. Claire, Albon, Ricardo. Safety car. Pourchaire's going to lead. But he can't pit yet. So that's not good. Doohan has just ruined Pourchaire's race as well.
DRS is currently disabled. DRS is currently disabled.
Most of the cars are done with pit stops. And this is going to bunch them right up on Pourchaire, who still has to pit. Oh, and minor chassis damage as well, so double.
Let's reduce.
Doohan hasn't even caught up yet.
Copy.
Not
Oh,
quite,
taking
but
to the
to the back
control
end of the field. Pourchaire, a little late to the party on turning things up, too. We're okay, though. Nobody can go before him. They can't overtake him before the line, so... Pourchaire trying to hang on to the lead here, and Doohan has not made it back. He's not out of the back yet. He's about 4 seconds behind, 3.5 seconds behind. So really unfortunate that he has, missed out, especially considering all we did was replace the wing. But back with Pourchaire, he does hang on to the race lead, and as we are burning fuel that we can't
We want
afford
to leave
to.
court, please.
Ocon, Latifi all should be pitting again, but our race is pretty well ruined from one thing and one thing alone, and that is Doohan's mistake. He ruined his teammates' race. He ruined his own race. And there is a bit of a gap opening with Vettel at least. Doohan has caught up to the back end of the field at least. ready pit window, enter, 47%, but as long as we're in DRS range, it's better to prolong this as long as we can. But when we start going backwards, you know, Doohan's made it. Made it back on. But what is that a sign of? That a damaged Doohan is faster in 2 laps to pick up 3 seconds on Pourchaire. Because it's Pourchaire who was setting the pace. With almost no gaps, you know, just one small gap of a second out there. It's Pourchaire's tempo that was hurting us. Making it possible for Doohan to get back up there, that is. Nine seconds behind our teammate. Behind our teammate, the one who screwed us over. He's got to pit again too. Alright, now we can focus on Doohan. Who's moved up a spot? Wow. Wowie wow wow. He's actually starting to lose DRS range himself. Tire wear? Yeah, mediums that are still in the 60s. But a lot of guys not looking great on their tire wear, so there's still the tiniest of chances. You know, just enough for them. So you're saying there's a chance. Multiple cars have crashed. Leclerc and Bottas. Perez into the pits.
Increase, lift and coast.
We can take a look now. Okay, here's the Ferrari.
Alpine trying to go to the front of the race. Ferraris were a 1-2 last we saw. That's a lockup.
There's the collision. It's caused
for
absolute
Perez.
carnage.
That was very much a "you're not passing me." No, it wasn't. That was just a pure lockup. That's all. But that's good for us. 3 cars into the pits. Leclerc is already to the back end doing Pourchaire. Moving on up. And without safety car conditions. So those guys pitting, hoping for a virtual safety car or a full safety car and not getting either. And that puts us up to 14th and 17th. And Leclerc's still carrying the penalty, and Perez has also gone down. So both Ferraris to the back of the grid. Pourchaire's fuel is almost right. And Doohan now at 41%. He's still got to pit one more time. Pourchaire right behind Perez, who just pit. So Pourchaire, who pit from right there behind those two, recovered enough ground that he's right with those two. And one of them holding a penalty is going to go back again. And Pourchaire's, you know, right on Perez's heels, so he'll be able to cruise through for a while. Not too bad, but a lot of cars making a one-stopper work, and for them, right place, right time, where it's the opposite for us. Ricardo in the pits, up to 13 and 16 now. Sainz is 8.5 seconds back. Vettel, Ricardo, those guys are too far back. I think Pourchaire is going to have plenty of pace to get them. And Pourchaire gets Perez. He's now just over a second behind Leclerc. So he actually might be up close on these guys soon. And now that we pass the start-finish line, I think at 33%, it's time. Yeah, 33 laps. More than enough. Good to go on that one. 15 laps. We're going to be able to push continually. But yeah, 14 laps? No. No, not when we have 14 to go. Brand new set. Wait another lap or two. You could just about make that work. 2.623. And we get held up waiting for a Mercedes. Ocon comes out ahead. Didn't even know he was in the pits. We had to wait for him, and now we're just over a second behind already. Makes perfect sense, right? Perfect sense. Okay, we're gonna stay aggressive. Also push just a little bit. We want to get in that DRS range, but back with
We
Pourchaire.
think you can reduce lift and coast.
Pourchaire could pass these two now. That's Leclerc and Perez. And then we've got some guys we could overtake. I mean, that's 9th place up there.
So heads down, focus.
Now, here's the problem: is everybody's in DRS range, so it's hard to get an overtake done. And our chances for overtakes are only going to last for the next 10% or so, so we're going to have to make some overtakes soon. Come on. Go up the inside. Go up the inside.
We look at reducing the
Oof,
lift and
terrible
coast.
exit. Now we're further back than we were. Doing 1.1 back. I remember we've got to close up on Ocon and then let Ocon pull us forward. Meanwhile, Sainz, has he gotten any closer? 7 seconds? I'm not sure. I think he was about 6.8 before. Or was it 8? Oh, there goes that battery. Go standard for a little bit. And harvest. Back with Doohan. Just inside a second.
Okay, back off.
We're going to start getting DRS. That should help us close that down. Can you get up on him? Yes, we can. There's an overtake. That's 12th.
So what DRS?
How did we go through? We were refilling that battery and already it's gone. Jeez. Overtake, overtake. Come on, come on.
We want to leave
Yeah.
please.
Serve. Neutral. Now you just got to follow Leclerc up to the next group of guys. That's P11. Virtual P10 with that penalty.
And there's
Standard.
an overtake
Just
from
follow.
Williams.
Alright, back with Doohan. We got ahead of Ocon. Where is Ocon? Is he behind us? He is. He'll fall off though, as those softs fall off once he gets below 60%. But what is our space? What is the margin? 5 seconds to Vettel. Don't think Doohan's going any higher than 17th. I think we will hang on to 17th. Ocon might get us, but we'll get him back. Latifi's not going to be a threat. I mean, come on, it's Latifi. But I don't know how much closer Vettel could be, but doesn't matter. No points. Alright, back to neutral. We have fuel. Harvest. Get that battery nice and charged. One step at a time. 49%. Albon. Alex Albon leads this race. And is now third. North of Verstappen going through. You kidding me? Verstappen. Right to the front of the field, huh? He was in 12th earlier when Doohan made his mistake. 12th or 13th. Front six. Well away. 7 to 9. Not that far ahead of us. That's who we're chasing. Leclerc now just 3.5 seconds back. But it's lap 53.
It's a race position
Lap
gained
53.
for Mercedes.
Fuel's okay. Ocon overtaking Doohan. Ricardo and Ocon both pit, so Doohan right back into 16th. 3.5 5 seconds back now from the 3.5 we were a little while ago. Holding it out, not helping. Doohan's caught this group.
Just use the overtake.
Copy.
Let's see how much progress Doohan can make in 3 laps, 2.5 laps. Sad that you're this close to the front of the field. They're crossing the line now. He's got 2 corners to go, and yet he's 16th. Pourchaire, not much better at 11th. And all because Doohan makes one mistake, one lockup. Almost a double overtake, and it looks like we might complete it. Nice.
And a new
Well, that's good.
position, just
P14.
gained by Williams.
Last year it was P12 and P14 for these 2 cars. This is where to do it. Come on.
Copy.
This is where to do it. Up beside him. It's not a done deal yet, though. Go all the way to the edge of the grass to try to make it happen. Overtake on. Last 2
And
corners.
there's an overtake from Williams.
Norris takes the win ahead of Verstappen. Steals the win. Albon, Russell, Bottas, Gasly, no points.
Check the
No
DRS.
stinking points.
Copy.
And then we're going to get Leclerc on that 5-second penalty. Leclerc's going to drop all the way down to 16th. Doohan did set the fastest lap, but no bonus points, even if he was in the points. And so we remain on 7. And wow, look at that. Lando Norris, the points leader. McLaren, the constructors leader, just 3 points ahead of Red Bull and opening up a bit of a gap. Not good in 14th. Development point for Doohan. Pourchaire got one last race. Getting pretty consistently, like one every other race for these guys, so that they do develop pretty quick. That is going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there, and bye for now.